And good, lovely, lovely, very, very lovely. I just want to extend a welcome to Robert and wish him well. Hi, Robert. Hi,
Thank you.
Brody. Robert. Wish you haven't been too well, a bit hazy in the past few weeks, but better now.
Yeah, it's me.
I'm sure you're in good form. I'm sure you are. We look forward to it, and you can look forward to. I just have to give my apologies because I'm going to leave early. I just want to get. There's something called Shabbos, and I have to get to Golders Green for tonight, and then I'm walking back tonight also. So that's something I do now and again because I like to be with my family. It's lovely. I just want to wish a big welcome also to Leigh. Where's Leigh? Oh, there you are, Leigh. You're my top right-hand corner. Big welcome, and we are looking forward to hearing your Devar Torah very shortly in a few minutes. You're not looking forward to it? I can see you shaking your head. You might have seen the news about Seymour Soloway. I'm very sorry to say about Seymour Soloway. Going to be a big miss to our community, and just we wish Chaim Aruchim to his family. I don't think you're on here today. I don't think so, but it's a very beloved, lovely man from the community. And as I said, we are going to miss him a lot. Shabbat begins this week at 3:54. It's getting a bit later, and it ends tomorrow night at 5:04. Now, if you're living, Sylvia, if you're living in Manchester, it's going to be a different time. Don't go by that time, okay? And if you're living in Southend, I don't know. You've got it. That's whatever it is, but it's just, and Bournemouth. It's going to be slightly different in Bournemouth also. So, whatever. It's a special week this week. It is Mental Health Awareness Shabbat. So, just be aware of that. I think it's a really important Shabbat. It has a connection with this week's Sedra. You will probably find it. I will be speaking about it in my sermon tomorrow. About that, and we mustn't forget about the sterling work that JAMI does, which is Jewish Association for Mentally Ill, and the important work, and to be aware about people around us and about the importance of looking after everybody and making sure that those people around us are well, not just physically but also mentally, and trying to help out where we can. Or seeing ways in which we are able to, know other people who can help if we can't help ourselves. So I think that's really important. This Shabbat is Shabbat Parashas Bo, and I just want to give you a very quick Devar Torah. In the beginning of this week's Sedra, we read that God said to Moses, Boy el Paro, go to Pharaoh. Actually, the word boy actually means come with me. I'm coming with you. Come to Pharaoh and says, I'm going to harden his heart. Yes, Leigh on the heart of his servants. In order that I should put these signs in his midst, and in order that you'll be able to tell your children and children's children everything that's happened to us. And when you read these words, you are gobsmacked with the difficulty that all our chachamim, all our sages seem to have. A fundamental belief in the Torah is something called Bechira Chovshit. Bechira Chovshit means free choice or freedom to choose. We believe in Judaism that Kol B'dei Shamayim, everything is actually preordained. Chutz miyirat shamayim, except for fear of God. In other words, everything is b'shert. We have that word b'shert. It's on my shirt. No, b'shert means it was going to happen. There were things that we cannot change, and it's a fact of life. A way a person is born, how we are going to look, whether we're going to be rich or poor. God has given us faculties. We can work with those faculties, but the truth is we can't change that all that much. But one thing that we do have is that Kol B'dei Shamayim, everything is preordained, chutz, except for Yirat Shamayim, fear of God, which means whether we decide in our lives to be good and upstanding people in society. If we are, then obviously we've made that, but it's completely our choice or not. We have total choice, and decisions that we make in our lives are based on that freedom. That's called free choice. And the Rambam Maimonides, famous in Hilchos Teshuvah, in chapter 5, the laws appertaining to repentance, chapter 5, in chapter 6, he speaks about this concept at very great length. And I just want to say that it's something very, very important. So the question is, when we read these first words from the Sefer, from the Sefer, how could Hashem harden the heart of Pharaoh to take away? Because by hardening his heart, that means he didn't have a choice. I will harden his heart, says the Torah, and it doesn't just say it here. He says it all the way along. He says, I will harden the heart of Pharaoh. And as I said, we read it quite a number of times, 3 or 4 times. So it poses a difficulty to our concept of free choice. If we believe in free choice, how could he take away that? So many of our philosophers and religious leaders talk about this question and give a number of different responses. The response I like the most is the following. Hashem never takes away our freedom of choice to choose between good and bad. It's just, if I start off choosing bad and I do it in a number of times, then it becomes part of me. And the more I do it, the more I choose bad and I make a bad choice in life, the more difficult it becomes for me to change, from a social aspect and from a personal aspect. So when Pharaoh, he first said to Moshe and Aaron, and he said no, and he said no, and he continued to do it. The more he said no, the more it became more difficult for him to change his mind, because the more a person chooses bad, then he or she becomes locked up in his bad, and it becomes increasingly difficult to find the wherewithal to change for the better. And the reason that is because of himself, because Hashem puts it within us that if you choose a bad way in life, then it becomes more difficult for us to do it. A prime example is if you choose never to come to shul in your life, it becomes more difficult when to start to come to shul at a later age if you've never done it before, because it's become a habit. And to change that becomes very, very difficult. So the message is, if I choose negativity and become locked up by that, how much more so? Conversely, if I choose positivity and doing mitzvahs, by choosing good, I become further removed from the evil and I become hooked on just doing good. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. That's my little message. I hope you like that. Okay, now, I also want to take this opportunity. I know Alan Glynett is on this, and Alan has been living in Kenton for years and years and years. Alan, say hello. And Alan is this week, I think, or it's next week, it's forthcoming week, he's moving to Stanmore. And I just want to take this opportunity of wishing Alan that you should have a good move. It should be a very good move, and you should continue having nachas from your children and your Eineklech and your grandchildren, everybody else in Hashem, and everything should go smoothly. I know it's scary to move, but everything should go very smoothly, please God. Alan, I can't hear what you're saying. Huh? Do you want to say something? Okay, I think I saw your mouthing. Thank you. Okay. I just want to wish you well. You're still muted, but it's okay. Let's continue now with Leigh. Could you please come on board and give a lovely Devar Torah? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
In this week's Sidra, we see the remaining plagues fall on the people of Egypt, and it culminates with the plague of the death of the firstborn. Now, as the Rabbi has just said, it talks about God hardening Pharaoh's heart. Well, it's interesting that it's only after this 10th plague, it's only after Pharaoh loses one of his own that he takes action and lets the people go. The hardening of the heart is, in fact, Pharaoh is selfish. He doesn't care about anybody else. He only cares about himself. And that what happens to the rest of his people, he's not concerned about. He doesn't give a damn. He actually doesn't care because he's got servants. He lives in a nice palace. They can all keep all the plagues away from him. And so it doesn't affect him. It's only this last plague which affects him and everybody else in Egypt. And he has caused the most enormous suffering and heartache and difficulties to his people because he is selfish and he doesn't care about his people or the community or anything else. And that's what the hardening of the heart is. He is so wrapped up in his own self-importance that he doesn't see what is right for his people. You would think in this day and age, and especially at this time, that we would have a better feeling for people in our community, in the wider community, across the planet. And yet, in the borough of Harrow, there are only 47% of people who have had the booster jab. In Brent, there are only 33%. That's a lot of people who haven't bothered to be vaccinated or go the full course. That is nothing but selfishness. They are behaving like Pharaoh. They don't care about anybody else. They're not concerned as to the effect of what happens to the outside world. They're only concerned with themselves. And that is not right. And ultimately, it would seem, God forbid, that until they lose one of their own, that they will not take action. Get vaccinated, be part of the community, get the booster jabs, and be part of community so that you can help rather than distancing yourself. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed, Leigh, for your words. And we always look forward to hearing you. And thank you very much indeed. Something to think about over Shabbat. And that's a great pleasure to introduce Robert.
Thank you, I'm here. Well, we'll start, as usual, with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarahaman Meshoch Avdecha Eretzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal Yishtachaveh Mol Hadarech Yerav Lo Yedidotecha Minov Etzuf V'chol Ta'am Hadur Na'ezif Ha'olam Nafshi Cholat Avatecha Ana El Narfana La Beharot La Noam Zivecha Az Titchazek V'titrafe V'hayeta La Simchat Olam Tatik Yemuna Rachamecha V'chusana Binahu Becha Ki Ze Kama Nichsof Nichsafti Liro B'tiferet Uzecha Ele Chamda Libi Chusana Ve'al Titalam Higalena Ufros Chavivi Alai Et Sukat Shelomecha Ta'ir Eretz Michvodecha Nagilav Nismechava Maherehov Kiva Moed V'chanenu Ki Me'olam La 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 la. L'chun ranan l'Adonai. I just got a notice saying I was muted. I hope I haven't been muted all the time. Good. I hope good. Nekad mapan abetod abis mirot narialo ki gadol Adonai melech gadol kol Elohim asher biyado mechtaras etzofos lo ashelo hayam v'hu asahu vayapesh et yadav yatzaru bo nishtachave v'nechra lefrecha lifnei Adonai Yoseinu ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu amarito yatzon v'tzon yado hayom im kol tishma'u al takshu levavachem kim rivach yom asah b'midbar asher nisuni avotechem b'chol v'gamru v'fali 40 shana kod bedor ve'omar am to'el levavchem ve'hem lo yadu derachai asher nishpati v'api im yevon el menuchati shir Adonai shir chadash shir Adonai kol haaretz shir Adonai b'chol shemot tzubasru miyom rishvato sapru v'arim kevodo v'chol nevyotav ki Adonai kidon כי כל אלוהים מלילים על נשמה מסעוד ודבר לפניו ושו הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו ושו מנחה ובצאן חצותיו השתחוו לאדוני בהר קודש חילו מפניו כל הארץ אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך אל תיכון תבל בתימות ידין עמים במישרים ישמחו השמיים ותגר הארץ ירם הים ומלוא יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער. לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט דבר בצדק, והעמים באמונתו. אדוני מלך תגול הארץ יזמחים רבים ענוריו וצבאיו צדיק משפט וחנגסו. השתברת תלכוס לעץ וצרב, היו לרכבתי לרוצה ותח אל הארץ, ערים קרנגנו מסו לפני אדוני מלפני אדון כל הארץ, הגידו השמיים צדקו וראו כל עמים וכל העמים כבודו, יבושו כל עבדי פסל המתעלים בעולים ומשתחו לה כל אלוהים, שמע ותשמח ציון ותגן בנות יהודה למען משפטך אדוני, כי אתה אדוני עליון על כל הארץ, מאוד נעלית על כל אלוהים, אוהבי אדוני סינורה, שומר נפשות חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם, אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו. מזמור שירו אדוני שיר חדש כי נפלאות עשה הושיע אלוהים מנזו קדשו. הודיע אדוני שועתו לעיני גויים גילה צדקתו. זכר חסדו ואמונתו לבית ישראל רוח כל אפסי ארץ אס ישועת אלוהינו. הריע לאדוני כל הארץ פצעו ורנו וזמרו זמרו לאדוני בכינור וכל זמרה. בחצות הרוד וכל שופר הרו לפני המלך אדוני ירם הים ומלוא. תבל ויושבבה, נהרות שמך וכף יחדרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. אדוני מלך ירגזו עמים משקרובים צנות הארץ, אדוני בציון גדול ורמהו על כל העמים, יודו שמך גדול ונורא קדוש הוא, ועוז מלך משפטו הפקת כוננת מישרים משפט וצדקה, ויעקב אתה עשית. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו ושכבו לאדוני רגליו קדוש הוא, משה ואהרון בכהניו ושמואל בקורא שמו, קוראים אל אדוני והוא יענם. בעמוד ענן ידבר עליהם, שמרו עדותיו וחוק נתן למו. אדוני אלוהינו אתה עניתם, אל נושא היית להם בנוקים על עלילותם. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו, תשתחוו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בנעילים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני בכבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים על אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסריון כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני חולל היערות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות. אדוני אל המבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Got to think of the right tune now. I'm trying to think of Lionel Leigh's setting of Adon Olam, and it goes like this. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor zachor b'dibur echad, yishmiyanu el ha'miyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, לשם ותפארת לתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקרם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומיצי מתוך אביך. רב לך שבט בני מקבחה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. יתנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי. על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קרבה אל נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקרמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי. בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר על תילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. והיו למשי שסייך, ורחקו כל נבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כמשוש חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על ידי שבין פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Right, for a Zemira. I always think it's such a wonderful tradition of these table songs that families sing or sang when they got together for a Shabbos meal. And the one I'd like to sing today is Yomzel Israel Ora v'simcha. Today, the Sabbath is a day for Israel of light and joy, and Shabbat Menucha, a day of rest. I'm told this in the Chief Rabbi Singer Siddur is on page 320. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat menucha. Tzvita bikurim b'ma'amad Sinai, Shabbat u'moadim lishmor b'chol shanai, la'roch lefanai ma'asit v'arocha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Chemdat kalvavot umma shevura, nefashot nechavot neshama yetera, lenefesh b'tzeira yasira nacha, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. קידשת ברכת אותו מכל ימים בששת קליטה ולכת עולמים בו מצאו עגומים השקטו ביתך שבת מנוחה שבת מנוחה Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. לאיסור מלאכה צביתנו נורא, אזכח עוד מלאכה עם שבת אשמורה, אקריב בייך מאורה, מנחה מרקחה, שבת מנוחה, שבת מנוחה. יומזל ישראל, אורה ושמחה, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yomzel Israel, ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat menucha. Last verse, Chadish migdoshenu zachra nechrevet, tucha moshienu telana netzevet, b'shabbat yoshevet, bismir ushvacha. Shabbat menucha. Shabbat Shabbat Menucha. Yomzel Israel, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat Menucha. Yomzel Israel, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat Menucha. Shabbat Menucha, everybody.
Good.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Excellent, Robert.
Yes.
Robert.
Let's